Hey guys, so in this video, I want to talk about the US markets because as you all know, in this second channel, we're not just going to talk about the Philippine markets, but altogether, we're going to analyze and talk about both Philippine, US, and Singapore markets. And we're going to talk about technicals, what's happening in the whole markets in general, and discuss certain things that are distinct from what we talked about in the first channel. So by the way, if you're new to this, my name's Marvin Germo. I'm a stock market trader and investor, and I've been investing in the markets for more than a decade now. And I created two channels on investing in the markets. This is my second channel where we do a deep dive on the technicals on a raw and unfiltered way of analyzing it. And in my first channel, we have over 1,600 videos on the basics of the market, technical analysis, and fundamental analysis. So if you want to learn more about the markets, you could like, share, and subscribe to this channel so you get updated every time I come up with new content about investing. So as you can see here, it's posted right here, right now. We have the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. What's so interesting today is that last night in the US, morning in our area, or at least late night in the Philippines, morning in the US, the S&P 500 hit an all-time high, closing at 3,389.78, while the Nasdaq, who has been hitting high upon high upon high upon high over the past few weeks and the past few months, closed and hit another all-time high. And the reason why I'm saying this, and the reason why this is so significant right here, right now, because we are still in the midst of the pandemic. There's still millions of people who have cases of the coronavirus. There's still no cure and vaccine that has been at least distributed that has allowed people to go back to normal. So what's so interesting is in the midst of the pandemic, in the midst of bad economic numbers, not just in the US, but also in other countries around the world, we are seeing the largest and biggest and most tracked indices to hit all-time highs. And of course, these are not only the indices that are being tracked, but I just want to highlight in this because at the end of the day, the US markets are still one of the largest and most tracked and most watched. And the companies here are so well represented, so exposed that they have businesses in other countries around the world. So that being said, this particular note now for the S&P 500, please remember at the start of the year, the S&P 500 and majority of the stocks and also different sectors indices in the States hit all-time highs. Then the lockdown, the pandemic happened where we saw in March the markets dropped. What the charts are showing us right now and what it's saying is that it looks like that this is one of the shortest drops, recessions, market move downs that we've ever seen in a very, very long time. The fact that it erased all of the losses from March this year to where we are today shows how big of a disconnect also that there is in the stock market and what's happening in the real economy. Please remember, there's two sides to every story. People would always say that the stock market is a reflection of the economy, but people have been saying now that the stock market is not a reflection of the economy. But here's one thing that I do know. The stock market is a reflection of people's sentiments toward the economy, because you would not invest your money if you think that things would look bad later on in the future. So why am I saying this? The stock market, up until now, I firmly believe this, that it's a forward-looking indicator. The fact that we saw a large decline in March because it took a snapshot of how the economy will be for the US markets weeks and months moving forward. But the fact that it has rebounded right now, it's also showing us that there's confidence that the economy will turn and will get better. And just to share, I think one of the fundamental differences that we have in this market versus, or in this recession, in this crash, versus what happened in 2008. 2008 was a financial disaster. You had a lot of bankruptcies. You had a lot of companies that were so over leveraged that they weren't able to settle their obligations. This wasn't really something that was triggered because businesses were bad. Businesses were actually good. Growth was high. This was triggered by a pandemic. And I think one of the reasons why markets have gone up because it's forward-looking optimism that the vaccine and the cure is there. So I think that's one thing that people need to consider. Number two is that the US government, the Fed, has been pumping in trillions of dollars, which is putting liquidity in the markets, which they've been buying bonds. And the fact that they've been buying bonds, it means that when people borrow or institutions borrow, the ones that lent money, the government could buy. If they're buying them, it removes the risk from the financial markets. And if it removes the risk from the financial markets or from the financial institutions, it allows them to be liberal also in lending more money. And if they're liberal in lending more money, more cash is still coming out and it helps the economy to get better. Another thing that I'd like to point out is basically this. Interest rates are low. Interest rates are low. So if interest rates are low, where would the money go? It would just go to the stock market. That's one way to look at it. There's no other avenue for them to put it. You'd say also commodities. That's why gold is up. You would also say Bitcoin. That's why Bitcoin is up. That's why the US market, cryptocurrencies, particularly Bitcoin, and commodities, particularly gold, is up. If you'd notice it also that gold in the crash, gold was up when the markets were down, but you're seeing something different right now. The market is up, Bitcoin is up, and gold is also up. They're all up right at the same time. What does that mean? There's money. Money is flowing in the different asset classes. It's not anymore what we thought before that it would be an inverse. So what does that mean also? It probably means that those that are buying gold are expecting things that, hey, things may not be as good, or they're also thinking that, it's a good hedge because also the dollar has been printed so many ways. Another thing that I'd like to point out, and for those tracking the US markets, you for sure you know this. The US government has been giving stimulus packages. They've been giving cash to ordinary people. And since they've been giving cash to ordinary people, and this could be backed by a lot of the online applications for trading accounts. That's why Robinhood became so popular for the very reason that uh, I have extra money. I can't go out. Since I can't go out, I might as well just trade the markets. Since I can't go out, I'll just try to learn. And there was very very interesting statistics also that in since at that certain point in time there was no basketball, people couldn't go out to casinos. So the only thing that they could do to have some sense of an exchange of money was the stock market. So money moved into the market. Another thing that I'd like to mention, what's causing this run up is, of course, Nasdaq. You all know Nasdaq is pretty much tracking tech companies, internet companies, and that's why it's pushing up. I'd like to point out that S&P 500 is a basket of 500 companies, but I'd like to share to you that out of that 500 companies, 20% of the weight comes from just 5 companies only, and those 5 companies that carries a large chunk of the weight are tech companies, which I've been talking about over and over and over in my first channel, Facebook, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, and I forgot. Ulitin natin. Google, ito mahirap sa raw, no? You have to remember everything. You have to remember everything on the spot. Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Apple, Facebook. Ayan, so that those 5 companies. So those 5 companies have 20% of the weight of the entire S&P 500. The entire 80% is distributed or is contributed or is the allocation of the remaining 495. So if you try to look at it also, it's those tech companies pushing the index together. So why am I saying this? It's not really a broad representation of what the US economy is, because similar to what's happening in the Philippines, there are sectors, there are industries that are doing well and are crushing it, but there are sectors, there are industries also that are not doing so well. So that's what we're seeing right now. We are seeing the market push up because a lot of the tech companies are the ones that are pushing up. And the reason why I'm making this video, number one, if you are a Filipino, you've seen it that the Philippine markets have gone up from the lows of March, but it's not like this. I think it's time also for you to learn how to diversify, to not put all of your eggs in one basket. It's amazing to invest in Philippines, in the Philippine markets, but it's also amazing that if you know what you're getting into, you know proper rudiments of fundamentals and technicals, then it would be good to deploy capital in companies that you have studied very, very well, either good brands, companies that are not affected so much, or companies that are heavily connected to the tech industry. So it's so interesting. We are living in different times that in the middle of the pandemic, you're seeing companies, indices hit all-time highs. So there, those are the things that I believe that have caused the markets to continually push. And please remember, it's massively up from the lows of what we had in March. So for those who invested, for those that started to dabble into this, congratulations to all of you. But it doesn't mean that you're gonna have gains all the time. My suggestion, while you are up, continue to study and continue to build the skills that you need and that are necessary for you to be able to grow and to be able to learn and to be able to be good in the markets. Because for you to be good in the markets, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's not also that you will always get gains all the time. There will be days that it will be bad. There will be days that you might be at the paper loss and you'll have to hold on to it. Or there will be days that as you hit the loss, you will also have to cut and get out of that position. So there, that's my quick explainer video on this. I hope you guys got a lot from this. If you guys have any questions, again, put them in the comment section. If it's a personal question, slide a DM on my Instagram and I'll try to make a video based up on your question. And then there, if you want to know more about how you can invest in the US markets, I have a link below. It's called eToro. It's a brokerage that allows you to buy US stocks for $50 only. And as you start buying them, it gives you access already to all of the stocks that I mentioned. If you want to learn more about the stock market basics, technicals, and fundamentals, another link below, Shopee, where you could order the books. Online courses are also in the link below. For those who are asking about the stuff that I've been using for my trading, the VPNs that I've been using, the virus scanners that I've been using every time I log in, all of them are in the description below. And there, I hope you learned a lot from this. This video is coming out around 6 plus p.m. Expect stocks by request in this channel around 7 p.m. Expect an 8 p.m. video in my original channel where we're gonna talk about naman day trading, monitoring the markets on a regular basis. And if I have another time, if I have time again, later, 10:30, we're gonna talk about another stocks by request video. So there. So I hope you guys got a lot from this. I hope that this is something that is insightful. I hope that this is something that gave you enough value and content. I hope that this is something also that is helping you wherever you are. If you're a Filipino watching this, I hope that it's something that's a break from the normal. If you're a foreigner watching this, I hope that you enjoy Filipinos also talking about what's happening in the US market. So I guess that's it for now. Marvin Germo. I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. See you all again soon, guys, and God bless you all.